Happy Friday and welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. Today I'm going to be doing September's installment of Balancing the Books. This is the game where I add up all the books that came onto my TBR this month and then compare them to all the books that went off my TBR and make sure that every month my TBR is going down by at least one. So let's look at all the lovely books I got this month. Firstly, I am just going to show you a couple of books that don't count against me in this game because these are books that I've already read, but maybe I read them on ebook or I borrowed the book and I wanted to own it myself. So these are books that I've bought but aren't actually adding to my TBR. So in September, I bought When Dimple Met Rishi. This was a really sweet YA that I read over the summer on ebook and I just really wanted to own it because I think this cover is really fun and colourful and I think this is a book that I will read again because it was just so sweet and fun. I also bought The Roanoke Girls. This was another one that I read on ebook and I absolutely loved it. It is so dark and creepy and twisted. I've talked about it in another video which I will link to and it's so much fun. And this cover is also gorgeous, so I had to own this one for myself. And then finally I bought Persuasion to add to my Clothbound Classics collection. This is my absolute favourite Jane Austen. I did also buy Pride and Prejudice, I just realised because it hasn't arrived. So I'm going to save that one to show you next month. But for now, look how pretty this is. So those were the harmless books that I bought in September. Now let's show you everything else I got that is being added to my TBR. Because I broke out of book jail last month, I did go a little bit crazy on buying books this month, but I had a lot of fun while doing it. The first book that I rushed out to buy was The Handmaid's Tale, because I couldn't believe that I still hadn't read this. I'd been absolutely loving the TV show, I thought it was so good, so I had to read the book. And I have now read it, and I adored it. I thought it was fantastic. I did actually think I possibly liked the TV show even more, but I think that's just because this was written a while ago and the TV show, they definitely made it feel extra current, so it felt even more relevant to us today, whereas this was written in the 80s, so I'm sure this was as groundbreaking then as the TV show was to us now. That's really just in terms of my emotional response to it. I did think this book was absolutely amazing. Another book I bought where I've only ever seen the adaptation was The Talented Mr. Ripley, and I was inspired to get this because I read Genuine Fraud over the summer and didn't really like it. That's the new E. Lockhart that's based on this book, and I just found it a little bit disappointing because I love the film The Talented Mr. Ripley and I felt like Genuine Fraud was kind of just a rip-off of that story, and that just inspired me that I wanted to go and read the original book, so I've got this one. I bought The Reluctant Fundamentalist, which I've had kind of at the back of my mind that I wanted to read for years and years, and I thought it was finally the time, especially as Mohsin Hamid, his newest book, Exit West, has just been shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize, very exciting, so I haven't read that one yet either, but he's very relevant, so I thought I'd go back and start with this one. I bought Rivers of London by Ben Aaronovitch, which one of my friends recommended it to me. She said that it's really good and fun, and it's kind of got that, like, the thing that I find really fun about Harry Potter, where it feels like it takes place in our real world. There's scenes of him, like, walking around London, and you're like, that could be happening right now. This is the same kind of thing. It's like this magic hidden within London. I bought They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, which I had been so psyched for because I just love everything that I've ever read of his. This one did not disappoint. It was so good. It made me really teary, and I actually already want to read it again, even though I just finished it, because it was quite clever the way a lot of the characters' lives sort of intersected with each other, and I want to go back and read that again and see if there's bits that I missed. Also, this book had great bi representation, so that's always a win in my book. And talking of bi representation, I also bought Far From You by Tess Sharp. This is the book that we're reading for the Girl Sex 101 book club. I'm about a quarter of the way through so far, really, really enjoying it. And then finally I bought Infidel, and this is for the In Real Life book club that I'm doing with my friends from uni. And this is about, it's a non-fiction, it's a memoir, the life of this woman, Ayaan Hirsi Ali, who's had this incredible life. She's a political activist and she's escaped some seriously horrible hardships in her childhood. I'm about halfway through so far. I've just got to the end of the section called My Childhood, and it was pretty grim, pretty tough reading. So now I'm looking forward to seeing the second half to see what she then went on to do. So those are the books that I bought, and then I got sent 3 books by publishers, and those were The Innocent Wife. This one sounds really good. It's about a woman who falls in love with a man who's on death row and she's convinced that he's innocent, so she starts writing him letters and then they get married. I got First Person, which is about a ghostwriter who starts to think that he's being corrupted by the person that he's writing the book for. And finally, I got The Betrayals, which is told between 4 points of view, 4 members of the same family, and it's about betrayal, obviously, and trust, and what can never truly be forgiven. So that's 10 books that got added to my TBR in the month of September, and I read 8. Oh dear. However, I want to ask you guys a question. I am currently reading 3 books at once, and I don't really know how to count them in this. I don't really have a system for it, but my idea this time around is, because I'm pretty much exactly halfway through Infidel and then a quarter of the way through the other two, maybe all three of them could add up to one more book. Obviously you guys can't answer me in the time that I need to make this decision, so I'm going to go ahead and say that all just adds up to like one extra book, but I don't really know going forward how that would work as a system. So do leave me a comment if you have any ideas of how books I'm currently reading should sort of count towards this and if they can save me a bit. So if we're doing it that way, that means I just have to get rid of one more book to make the books balanced, and then an extra one to make the final thing -1, because I am trying to get my TBR down by 1 every month. This is the hard part. What 2 books am I going to get rid of? I hate this game. Why do I do this to myself? I'm stuck. I've got this book, The Woman Warrior, which does look amazing. I originally bought it to read along with Jean from Bookish Thoughts Feminist Orchestra Book Club, but I missed the month when they read it, and now I've just been keeping it for ages. And it's one that I definitely think that I should read one day, but I keep not picking it up. It's getting really tough now. I'm getting down to the books that I genuinely do want, which is good because that's the aim of this whole thing. What I want to do is just get down to so that my TBR fits on these 2 shelves here, and then I can really see what I've got and I won't forget about them. Once they fit on those shelves, I will stop being strict with myself. But for now, I still think I've got all these books that, while they sound amazing, I just keep ignoring. And if I give them to charity, then that means that somebody else can read them now and benefit from them. So I think I'm still doing the right thing, but when it's so hard, it's not easy to know. I was just umming and ahhing about this for so long that the battery both in my camera and my microphone died. So I decided it was time to just pick one. And I've gone for The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, because this is a book that I know will be great. I didn't even buy it that long ago, but if I'm being honest with myself, I know myself, I will keep this for the next 2 years before eventually giving up and watching the movie instead and then giving it away. That's so bad to say out loud, isn't it? I think it'll be a really, really important story and I'd love to know more about it, but I'm just not sure I'm motivated to pick up the whole book. This is going to be a super unpopular statement and make me sound really stupid, but a lot of the non-fiction books that I read I think are fascinating, but I think could have been told in just like a long form article. And I'll read that long form article and I'll love it and I'll think it's fascinating, but then I don't have the attention span to read the whole book. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud on the internet. I'm so sorry. This book sounds amazing, but whoever buys it from Oxfam is going to adore it. So these are the 2 books I'm giving away this month, and that means that my books for September are officially balanced. So feel free to leave me abusive comments below letting me know how stupid I am for not reading non-fiction, and of course while you're at it, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for new videos every Friday. See you next time!